in my mind to make the tracks go together. In my mind, 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 in my mind. I love drum and bass. In my mind, 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 in my mind.
There I am. Hello. But the background's meant to be there as well. Let's see. Okay. And I've got an echo. All right. Hello. How is everyone today? I'm just doing an impromptu kind of chat about what the Sea Org was like in the old days. I found an interesting kind of transcript of a talk that Hannah Eltringham Whitfield did in Germany quite some time ago. And I just thought it was quite pretty horrific. And I think that the story of the good old days in the Sea Org is referring to there's a lot of people that believe that Miscavige, when he came along, he ruined Scientology and changed the tech and, stuff like that. But and they still believe that Hubbard was a nice humanitarian man, and they still believe that the tech is relevant and it works. Hey, GM Flower. Yes, exactly, GM Flower. Yeah, absolutely. Some people think the military is a cult. But yeah, anyway, it's pretty horrific what she says. And now I've lost the article, of course. Hang on a minute. Sorry, guys. I am just doing this. Wait a minute. I just came across it and I thought, I'm trying to go live a bit more on my days off. Thursday, well, I say my day off. It's a day off from one of my jobs. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting to share. So I'm just going to read through it and then we can discuss it as we go along. So let me just check you can see that. Yep. All right. So my name is Hannah Eltringham Whitfield. I was a Scientologist and a member of the Sea Organization for over 20 years. I captained 2 of Hubbard's ships, ran his organizations, and was Deputy Commodore under Hubbard in the United States for 2 years. After I left, and as a way of giving back, my husband and I began helping families retrieve their children and spouses from Scientology and the Sea Org. I'm speaking today to share my experiences about L. Ron Hubbard. Beginning with Dianetics and particularly with Scientology, Hubbard created a totalitarian culture that revolved around his claims that he was perfect, that everything he said was correct, and that he never made mistakes. Everyone else was a sinner. Everyone else was wrong. The same culture permeates Scientology even today. In fact, we hear repeatedly from Scientology spokespersons how Scientology has done no wrong and that everything it says is correct. It's as if Hubbard was still alive, and in fact, he is glorified as if this was so. It is this totalitarian culture that has everything to do with what has been happening in Scientology today. It is this culture that will continue into the future because it's incapable of change and of correction from within. Hubbard conceived Scientology from a defensive public relations posture in which he always had to accuse others. This has never changed. This is the same culture that exists today. His followers do and say as Hubbard did and said. I joined Scientology in Johannesburg, South Africa in 1965. I was 24, educated, a registered nurse, altruistic, naive, and looking for answers. I soon went to England to Hubbard's headquarters, at that time a friendly, pleasant place. Ethics conditions and declaring people suppressive were just starting to show their face. I trained to the highest levels then available and graduated as a Class 7 auditor and an organisation executive course graduate. I was clear number 60. The training and auditing I received swiftly changed me into a person my family did not recognise. I had no doubt that Hubbard was perfect and everything he said and did was necessary to salvage our civilization. In August 1967, Hubbard created the C Project to evade the media and the law, though outsiders and general Scientologists knew nothing of that. I was one of 35 people invited to Las Palmas in the Canary Islands to join him and help with his research, as he put it, to salvage the planet. Of course, I accepted. I believed. Then I met him and began experiencing the way he treated those close to him, as well as outsiders, people like all of you. It was only years after I left the Sea Organization and Scientology that I began to see the extent of his abuse. I want to talk about some incidences I experienced in our 1-year period to show that conditions within Scientology have not changed since Hubbard's death. I just want to give a trigger warning just in case, because I know some of this stuff might be quite confronting. So just look after yourself. Hey, great grandma. Hey, Rudy. How you going? I can't watch chat while I'm reading, so I'm going back to reading now, and then I will check the comments afterwards. Okay. Okay. So I met Hubbard for the first time in Las Palmas in August 1965 when I joined the C Project. He had the ability to bring out the best in us as well as the worst. On the good side, he inspired me to achieve things I would never have thought I would never have otherwise, captaining 2 of his ships through all weathers and conditions, running large organizations and completing assignments that others said could not be done. There were unforgettable, exhilarating moments, such as those on deck at night where he sat with us for hours as we passed around bottles of good Spanish wine. He spoke about civilizations that existed in the vivid constellations overhead, and he pointed them out, named them one by one, and spoke in detail about their inhabitants. So he's speaking about aliens. I grasped those moments, hung on to them, and never wanted them to stop. As none of us were aware of what was really happening to us, we clung to what we perceived as good and crazily justified the bad. On the dark side, Hubbard exposed us and indeed thrust us into his world of cruelty, inhumanity, and abuse that would never have been condoned in any civilized country, and which he constantly redefined as positive, as the greatest good for the greatest number, and absolute requirements for enlightenment. After arriving on board, I quickly found that Hubbard angered easily and went into frequent unpredictable outbursts, or at us or the Spanish workers who were helping to refit the Avon River. I quickly learned from my peers that I had to rationalize his behavior. Everyone else did. Why? Because Hubbard was right. He was the only one who knew what it would take to overcome this civilization's inability to confront and help itself. And we all believed. There are so many revealing experiences I had with the man that I would love to give you, but I don't have the time. He soon appointed me as his first Master at Arms or ethics officer, and personally trained me for the position. During my 2nd week on the job, Linda, Hubbard's messenger, brought me a handwritten order to do with Terry Dickinson, an Australian electrician. Terry had failed to comply with Hubbard's order to get an HF Sharp ship to shore radio, purchased in New York, flown to Las Palmas, and installed on the ship's bridge. His punishment? He had to stay awake until the radio was on board and operating. If he failed, he would never be allowed to talk with crew, eat with crew, or sleep below decks. I read the order and froze. His messenger took it out of my hand and returned it. I presume, to Hubbard. To this day, I don't know if Hubbard was testing my loyalty or Terry's, or if he believed that that kind of inhumane action was required to raise my confront of evil, a subject he was obsessed with, or Terry's, or if he simply wanted to see how much brutality and manipulation someone under his control would tolerate. Why did I comply? It was simple. I was well indoctrinated. I was in love with the whole concept of Hubbard, who he was, and that he had chosen to return at that time, and that we were fortunate beyond belief to be there with him. Early on in Scientology, my emotions had gone into overdrive and blocked my rational thought processes and reality checks, and I was incapable of thinking logically. Added to that was the belief that Hubbard could do no wrong. That combination set up a circular logic that neither my peers nor I could escape. No matter what he did or said or what shock tactics he used on those around him, we believed Hubbard was correct. So you can see the extent of the brainwashing and how it can make you believe in someone even when they're doing something wrong, you know. And this reminds me quite a bit of my stepfather and how he was with my mum. That's why I can kind of resonate. And he actually used to read Alexander Crowley, and he was into all the kind of bad side of stuff like that. And he was very manipulative and he was very persuasive, and somehow, you know, he would get people to do things very strangely that people just normally wouldn't do, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so I'm just going to carry on. Sorry. Knowing Terry, a happy, fun-loving Australian, I knew he wouldn't make it on his own. As I couldn't face him enduring the punishment, I vowed to stay awake with him until it was done. I forced him to stay awake for 5 days and nights because that's how long it took to get the radio on board. When he could not, every moment of that long time, I pushed coffee and meals down his throat and walked up and down the beach with him through the wee hours of the night, when he wept that he couldn't go on anymore. Much later, my ex-husband, who was still a Scientologist, reviled me publicly for the brutality Terry experienced at my hand. He didn't know the order came from Hubbard. He would not have believed me if I told him. Hubbard never published the order. It's probably now behind one of those 1,000-year doors which guard the underground storage depositories of Hubbard's archives in the New Mexico desert, waiting for an unlikely future when humans will see that Hubbard was infallible. I believed I was doing it all for Terry's salvation as well as my own. Terry left the Sea Org soon afterwards, a broken man. I often wondered, given that LRH was right, why Terry didn't come through the punishment with success. Obviously, it was his fault that he didn't, not that of Hubbard. So it's pretty horrific, isn't it? Forcing someone to stay awake for 5 days and 5 nights. Hey, Nathaniel, how you going? Thank you. You too. Ditto. Come and have margaritas. Yeah, I actually read the end of this article. I haven't read the start of it, so it gets pretty bad. I mean, that's bad already. Imagine forcing someone to stay awake for 5 days and 5 nights. That's shocking. Yeah. Hey, eat more pizza. How you going, Dave? All right, I'm going to carry on reading. At the same time, Phoebe Maurer, hope I'm saying that right, another Sea Project member, was the first to be assigned Hubbard's new ethics condition of liability. She had to wear a torn jumpsuit, a grey rag tied around one arm, and a large black mark on her left cheek. She was forbidden to talk or mix with anyone. She had to stay on deck 24 hours a day and sleep up there as well. She could not bathe or wash. The ship's cook, Virginia Downsborough, had the choice of giving or not giving Phoebe any food. Hubbard's policy of putting her head on a pike worked well. We were a compliant crew. During that time, Hubbard lived in a villa outside Las Palmas. His public relations officer, Yvonne Gillam-Gents, also a Sea Project member, lived there as well. Years later, Yvonne confided in me that Hubbard made repeated sexual advances towards her, even though his wife, Mary Sue, visited him every so often, and he knew Yvonne was married. Yvonne told me that the only way she was able to break free was to request an assignment away from the ship, and Hubbard finally sent her to establish and run the Los Angeles Celebrity Center. She remained there for the rest of her life, returning to the Sea Org headquarters in Clearwater, Florida, only in the late 70s to die after she got cancer. Yvonne was one of the most loved and respected women in Scientology and the Sea organization. I just want to say these last two women that were mentioned, I've just talked about, were on the list that I made, that I put out at the protest. I remember seeing their names. Definitely, mate. Definitely, Nathaniel. I'd love to do that. Absolutely. There's not much going on in Perth, though, to be honest with you. But if you have the time and the means to do it, it's a beautiful state. It really is stunning here with pristine beaches and stuff. It's well worth seeing. It's just expensive to fly within Australia, so no one bothers coming here because everything else is on the east coast. You've just got little old me representing Australia by myself, you know. But yeah, so GM Flower, thank you so much. You're so generous. You're always gifting memberships. I appreciate you so much. I really do. I think it's important to get these stories out there. And when I finished reading this, what prompted me to do this, one of the things was that I came across someone today that had a little story of something that happened during COVID, you know, with the Sea Org, and it's just, and in Australia as well. So it's just horrendous, and I can't believe it was allowed to go on, you know. Thank you. So where are we up to? And this is the thing, a lot of people died too young from cancer because they didn't treat it. And I think I remember reading about her story. There was over 260 names on the list that I wrote out, and I read like probably 30% of the stories, I think, or I know how it happened and where and stuff. A lot of the names I don't know because I'm from different countries. Well, some of the ones from different countries I know and stuff. But yeah, she was just adamant that auditing was going to cure her cancer, and she didn't get treatment. So she could have lived a lot longer. It's just disgusting. And she died a slow, painful death, you know. It's awful. So by October 1967, Hubbard declared the Sea Project a success, renamed it the Sea Organization, creating an awe-inspiring billion-year contract, and assigned us the goal of personally helping him salvage the planet. Right, that's mental, isn't it? It's like a bit of pig's responsibility there. The heady emotions we experienced acted as glue that further trapped us inside his belief system, in which he continually reframed abuse as help, punishment as salvation, and unconditional obedience to his will as the only way to achieve total freedom. Towards the end of 1967, Hubbard appointed me to the position of captain of the Avon River, the 150-foot North Sea fishing trawler. And yes, I really was the captain and fully responsible for the ship and crew. And I just want to add that she'd never sailed a ship before, or whatever you say. She'd never captained a ship before in her life. And Hubbard told her that she was a captain in a previous life, so she would be okay. She already knew how to do it, and she didn't have a clue what she was bloody doing. I mean, can you imagine? And I'm sure back then there was all the free love and loads of drugs and stuff as well. So it just sounds like an absolute shit show, you know. Well, it depends what you're into, but so yeah, fully responsible for the ship and crew. We train new Sea Org recruits in sea practices and naval conduct and etiquette, including navigating the stars with a sextant. Later on, I also captained the 350-foot Royal Scotsman for 6 months, also known as the Apollo. In early 1968 in Valencia, Spain, Hubbard released OT3, the fantasy story about Xenu and body thetans. Emotions rang sky high. I, however, found the story incomprehensible. And from then on, for 15 years, I struggled to apply its sci-fi techniques while undergoing innumerable auditing reviews, retrains, and hundreds upon hundreds of hours of Dianetic auditing, all designed to make it possible for me to do OT3. Why did I stick with it for so long? Because the alternative, according to Hubbard, who was always right, meant I was suppressive, a degraded being, and beyond salvation. That is when I began to get headaches. Oh my God. So what did she say? For the next 15 years, you know? I mean, God. Hubbard appointed Peggy Bankston, a friend and Sea Org member, as his personal banking officer. Peggy confided in me soon afterwards that she and Hubbard were having an affair. I was flabbergasted. He was a right horn dog, Hubbard. He was always shagging everyone. Ugh. But how could I doubt? Obviously, Hubbard knew what he was doing. A short time later, Peggy fell out of favour and Hubbard declared her suppressive. Did that cause me to doubt? Not for long, I'm sad to say. I believed that Peggy was to blame for what happened to her. Then Hubbard ordered Derek Green put into the chain locker for stealing jewellery and tossing it overboard. Granted, it was valuable, at least one antique piece in the lot. But Derek was a 4-year-old child. Do you know what a chain locker is? It's a metal compartment at the front of the ship into which the anchor is coiled when not in use. I was present when Derek's mother, Phyllis Green, cried and pleaded with Hubbard to let her little boy out, and he brutally admonished her. A child is an adult in a child's body and is to be treated like an adult. He knows he did wrong and then turned away. Derek had no blankets, no extra clothing. He was not allowed to leave the chain locker to go to the toilet. He was in there for 4 days and nights. That's disgusting. Oh my God. Hubbard also assigned the entire Royal Scotsman crew, as well as their ship, the ethics condition of liability for non-compliance. He stood next to me on the Avon River Bridge as the Royal Scotsman sailed out of Valencia harbour to redeem herself. She had an enormous length of grey material tied around her funnel. The crew, men, women and children, scurrying around on deck, all wore old jumpsuits, grey rags around their arms and black marks on their cheeks. They were only allowed 5 or 6 hours sleep each night and limited hygiene. The whole scenario shouted unclean, yet Hubbard exuded contentment. He walked around the Avon River Bridge, chest puffed out, nodding and smiling and saying, "That will do it." I remember feeling a real deep fear in my gut, not so much about what Hubbard had done, but about the apparent wickedness he saw in the Royal Scotsman crew that I didn't, and the possibility that one day he might see the same in me. I thought my inability to see his punishment as something positive was proof of my severe limitations. As soon as the Royal Scotsman had completed the liability requirements set by Hubbard and was back in good standing, he moved his quarters and personal crew back on board and sailed the ship south to Melilla, French Morocco. We continued sailing around Valencia, training new recruits. Late one night, Amos, my chief officer, called me urgently to the bridge. Hubbard was on the radio, crying, begging me to sail immediately to Melilla. Melilla? So I was getting that wrong. To help him, as he had lost control of the Royal Scotsman. I was shocked, as I had never seen or heard him that devastated, and I wanted to run the other way. By the time we arrived, the worst was over. My then husband told me that 100 new untrained recruits had come aboard and caused havoc. To regain control, Hubbard had ordered the recruits, as well as the Sea Org officers who failed to hold the line, into the Royal Scotsman old water tanks, which were huge metal containers with small outlets to chip out the ancient paint and rust. The sinners were in the tanks for up to 84 hours and longer. Wow. My then husband was one of them. They had to chip 24 hours a day without sleep. Bloody hell, that's crazy. When someone stopped chipping or nodded off, a guard at the hatch hit the tank with a metal bar. I shuddered when I heard the chippers ate meals by hand out of buckets lowered down to them. So like the slops. They were given no toilet breaks. Well, how did they go to the toilet? Oh my God, that's gross. Hubbard really enjoyed the punishments he assigned. He did not need wire fences. He simply shocked people into compliance with his will. My then husband told me that our ship, the Avon River, arrived earlier. Hubbard planned to appoint me captain of the Royal Scotsman to fix everything. I was horrified by what I heard, and I knew I had escaped a time bomb. But did I question how denying sleep could salvage people, or withholding toilet paper? No, I was incapable of thinking logically. So, like, it just shows the brainwashing is just insane. 59 hours. Yes, they do. They do need to be heard. Absolutely. And I'm going to possibly later on tonight, I'm going to put an interview up of an ex. Oh, hey, Brian. Oh, good night, darling. Sweet dreams. Put up an interview of a Sea Org member from Australia. But he was in LA, I believe. There's not many stories of what's happened in Australia, and I've really been digging and digging. it's a shame. There's not much that I can find. There is one story, actually, I think I'll put that on later as well, about the old RPF that I found. But yeah, I do think these stories need to be kept alive. Absolutely. And hey, Kelly, how you going? Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Oh, she's so lovely, GM Flower. All right. I keep reading. Sorry. Later, when I was still captain of the Avon River that year, Hubbard sent a telex ordering me to put Nikki Friedman in the chain locker for 5 days. Nikki worked for Mary Sue Hubbard, LRH's wife, who ran the Guardian office worldwide from the Royal Scotsman. Nikki was travelling with us on that leg of our voyage. I complied, but the thought of Nikki in that dark, freezing metal compartment at night when we were at sea without warm clothes, limited food, and more turned me upside down. I couldn't do it. After a few hours, I said to hell with it and took her out. Was I scared that Hubbard would punish me for non-compliance? Of course. Did he? No. What was amazing was that he never questioned me as to why I let her out. That's weird, isn't it? What was more amazing, that I never questioned disobeying Hubbard's order and getting away with it. It just showed the extent to which he controlled me, and to which he controlled us all. That's really interesting. So he's put the fear in people that much that they've never even considered until, Hannah did just then, kind of defying him, and maybe all along it was okay for them to do it, I don't know. It's just crazy. And then she says about the Granada British TV program or episode, which I've also got on my channel if you want to check it out. I think it's called I can't remember what it's called, but it's a black and white thumbnail. The Wonderful World of Hubbard or something stupid like that. And it's got his horrible teeth on the on the thumbnail there, but it's it's quite a revealing program, as it says here, and that's the Royal Scotsman crew, dressed in rags, filthy, bearded and degraded, and they look more like prison convicts than an elite crew helping Hubbard save the world, and not one of us saw and acted on the glaring contradiction. The first overboard occurred that same year in Tunisia. Hubbard ordered the Royal Scotsman and Avon River moved on during a severe storm. I never understood why, as he taught us on no account to endanger our ships and crew unnecessarily. A solid rule I fully concurred with. One Sea Org officer tried to move a steel cable from the Royal Scotsman by hand from one bollard to another on the dock, but the wind was pushing the Scotsman away from the dock with so much force that he couldn't hold on. Later, with both ships safe, Hubbard ordered the man, Otto Roos, thrown from the Scotsman bridge, a height of 4 stories or more. Geez, that's freaking high. I wrote to Hubbard that night to give him the correct facts as to what had happened. I assumed he did not understand the severity of the wind. My report came back with a note: never question LRH. Ooh. Later that same year in Corfu, Greece, Hubbard began ordering errant staff thrown overboard each morning in a ritual with all crew present on board and standing to attention. No one was exempt except Hubbard's family. After a name announced, the person had to step forward and jump overboard, 2.5 stories down, about 30 feet or 9.2 meters, into dirty harbour water. Each morning, Hubbard watched daily from a higher deck, his aides, including me, by his side. And each morning, a contingent of Corfu citizens gathered on the dock to watch proceedings, many shaking their heads and whispering to one another as the ceremony proceeded. It just reminds me of, I know it's not as extreme, but like a public hanging or something. What is wrong with this person? It's gross. Hey, Barbie, how you going? Hey, mamas. Oh, bless you, mamas. Thank you. Thanks for your support. I hope you heal quickly. It's not nice having stuff done in your mouth, is it? I hope this isn't too boring for you guys. I haven't read this one before, so I just thought I would share it. Where are we? There was no way Hubbard didn't see these locals. They were in his direct line of sight. And when Hubbard saw the jumpers were beginning to enjoy themselves, he ordered their hands tied behind their backs. Oh my God, how can they swim? Later, he ordered hands and feet tied. What the hell? Oh my God. How would they survive? Oh my gosh. A week after that, he ordered blindfolds as well. Oh my God, that is scary as. His reason? The existing punishment was not severe enough to raise their confront of evil. Julia Salmon, about 60 years old and a senior Scientology organization executive in the Los Angeles org for decades, was thrown over blindfolded with her hands and feet tied. She screamed all the way down. When the sound stopped, Hubbard ordered a deckhand to jump in after her. Oh, okay. God. Had he not, I think Julia may have drowned. She left the Scotsman soon afterwards. Oh, good. Jeez Louise. What is wrong with this guy? The same year, Hubbard ordered Mike Douglas, a fellow Sea Org officer, to clean out the bilges where waste fuels, oils, and water collect to form a black, foul-smelling sludge. Blech. Michael had messed up. Hubbard went to talk to him, did not like what Michael said, and hit him so hard that Mike flew back into a metal bulkhead. Though injured, he received no medical care. He was down there a week under guard, again, with no sleep, food in a bucket, and you know the rest. Jeez. That was the start of what was to become known as Hubbard's Mudbox Brigade. Another incident, Hubbard believed a Scientology executive from Celebrity Center, San Francisco, who was on board the Royal Scotsman for a flag executive briefing course training, was stealing employees from the Celebrity Center in Los Angeles. He told me she was guilty and ordered me to find her crimes. I spent an 18-hour day investigating and came up with nothing. That evening, Hubbard said to me, I hear you have her crimes. I want them tonight. I felt helpless, and I'm ashamed to say that I gave Hubbard what he wanted. The next day, he triumphantly declared the woman a suppressive person. One could say she was lucky to be out of the Sea Organization and Scientology, but not to be treated that way. I don't remember her name. I hope she learns the truth someday and can forgive me. These incidents happened in a little over 1 year. Keep in mind that Hubbard had 3 ships in the Mediterranean at the time, and I did not always know what was happening on the other 2. Abuses like these continued through subsequent years. Several people on the Royal Scotsman, later renamed the Apollo, went crazy, psychotic, I presume, and Hubbard ordered them confined and locked up in cabins for weeks on end. Oh my God, I can't imagine anything worse. In the ship's stern. They never received proper medical or mental health care. There was the Rehabilitation Project Force, the RPF, created by Hubbard in 1974. Imagine being in a state of psychosis and then locked up like Lisa McPherson was. You know, it didn't just happen to her, it happened to lots of people. And it's happened here in Australia with a Taiwanese girl who was, I think she was like 19 or 20, and she tried to escape, and she cut her hand open by like trying to smash the window and get out, and was taken to hospital. And she stayed in. So this RPF that was created reduced the crew to the status of subhumans, living in dirty, unhygienic quarters, eating slop out of buckets with their bare hands, and not permitted to bathe or clean themselves in any way. What was their crime? Thinking bad thoughts about Hubbard or Scientology, or the techniques or policy. RPFers lived in what used to be a huge old cattle hold below decks. One rickety ladder led way down to the bottom of the hold. One bare electric light bulb, strung with rope, illuminated the vast space, its dim light casting grotesque shadows with each movement of the ship. There were no beds, only dirty blankets and mattresses strewn around. It smelt bad. RPFers performed only menial work, scrubbing toilets and decks. Then there were Hubbard's frequent rages and screaming fits. And one time I heard sounds like dishes smashing against the bulkhead in his private cabin. There were secretive flights to New York by Hubbard aides and others for abortions, either ordered or condoned by Hubbard. Then there were Hubbard's Kalo ceremonies. Now, I've looked up what Kalo ceremonies are, and I couldn't find anything. So if anyone knows what a Kalo, Kahlo ceremony is, let me know, because I was trying to figure out what that was. Held several times each week in another hold for Scientology organization executives who were on board for training. I just came up with like a kind of, I don't know, Mexican thing. I don't know. Yeah. Many ended up, missed a bit. Those who had erred in their studies had to smash cardboard representations of their organizations to pieces with hammers while chanting, "I have destroyed my organization. I have destroyed my organization." That's so messed up. Many ended up in tears and left their training incomplete. There was Susan Meister's so-called suicide. She's also on my list. So-called suicide on board the Royal Scotsman in Safi, Morocco, with her body shipped back to the US in a sealed casket due to a cholera scare, or cholera, like obviously a disease. I was on the Royal Scotsman when this happened and helped Mary Sue with the investigation immediately following Susan's death. There was no cholera scare in Morocco at the time. It was just a fancy PR caper that Hubbard called a brilliant PR coup. Oh, that's disgusting. That's someone's life. A brilliant PR coup to prevent Susan's family from taking action against Scientology in some way. 2 decades later, her father, Mr. Meister, called my husband and myself in Los Angeles, his voice breaking, pleading for help, still searching for information onto what really happened to his daughter, Susan. There was a young woman, Pearl O'Crackle, who escaped from the Scotsman in Corfu. Hubbard had ordered her physically restrained on board, and she finally escaped from the ship's crew as they chased her through the town's streets. Wow. This is really bad. Trigger warning. Oh, shit. There was the little body of one baby found dead in his crib in the filthy, urine-smelled nursery at the Fort Harrison. A dear Sea Org friend of mine, Judy Light, whose daughter was raised in that nursery, told me there was more than one dead baby. Oh, my God, that's freaking awful. Sorry, guys, that's really bad. Oh, hey, Lara, how you going? Sorry, I haven't been able to look at chat. Mamas, yeah, I'm sorry. That's really, really awful. Yeah, he was. Oh, hey, yeah, no worries, Lara. It needs to be spoken about. Oh my God, these babies. I love mashed potato. Sorry. No, it is absolutely horrifying. It's just no regard for human life. I'm sorry for making people cry. It needs to be spoken about. What's this? Oh, thank you, mamas. You don't need to do that. It's all good. Oh, geez, Louise. Yeah. I can put the link to this article in the chat, actually, if anyone wants to use anything out of it. Let me just pop it in the chat for you. Yeah, it's just so inhumane and so many crimes. Like, how are these babies allowed to die? What the actual fuck? Pardon my French, but oh God, I don't read on. Her daughter was raised in the nursery, told me there was more than one dead baby. I wonder how many they were and who were they? What were their names, you know? What happened with the parents? Like, how were they allowed to get away with this? That's surely, I mean, child neglect to say the least, but I would say a murder, you know? There were children from 3 to 9 years old who, as punishment in that nursery, had to pick lint off the carpet for hours each day while reciting, "I am glad to be in the Sea Org. I am glad to be in the Sea Org." That is messed up. 3 years old. And then there was the Rock Slam project in the late 1970s in Clearwater, Florida. Hubbard's witch hunt, his grand purge to find those he knew were disloyal to him. The paranoia from him, honestly, he was so paranoid and on a lot of drugs, which probably caused the paranoia, you know. It ended with hundreds of staff and executives from all levels assigned to the RPF and the RPF's RPF. The list goes on and on. Every insider was safe, only as long as he or she played Hubbard's rules, and every outsider was fair game. And in 1978, there was my own inevitable RPF assignment in Clearwater for 1 year. How did I ever think I could escape that fate? All I remember is the intense Florida heat, my head pounding, running up and down endless flights of stairs to clean toilets and mirrors. We were not allowed to walk. We had to clean the mirrors only with newspaper, nothing else, or we were punished. My twin, Lynn Froyland, from the Guardian office, refused to confess her misdeeds and was assigned to the RPF's RPF, chained in the basement boiler room in the dark and heat, filthy, sullen and insolent, still refusing to cooperate. Years later, in response to my affidavit about her experience, she said, she's still in Scientology, replied in her brief that it wasn't that bad. I'm sorry, but I heard that somebody else was locked. Somebody else was locked in that boiler room and actually passed away. I've been trying to find out about that as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no words. Hey, yeah. Mad. I mean, geez, I you know, just I don't have words, honestly, for what you guys went through. You're so incredibly brave, Lara, and I have mad respect for you. You know, you're incredible. Yeah, so the Taiwanese girl who was locked up, yeah. I thought she stayed in. I thought there was the dad was saying that she went back in. Okay, well, that's good that she got out. Because I've been looking for her. I got her name and I've been trying to find her and find stuff about her. And I swear I saw her dad saying that she stayed in. But yeah, yeah. And the list of people that are taking their lives and stuff is, you know, is there any freaking, what's the word? Sorry, lost for words. I mean, are you surprised people have taken their lives? That's what I mean. It's just insane. Where was I up to? So she said it wasn't that bad. So because she's still in Scientology, so she's been justifying it to herself, you know. After I graduated, yes, in Hubbard's culture, even the word used to describe someone's release from the RPF was twisted to sound like a positive. After I graduated, exactly. And I don't know if anyone's been listening to Eyes to See. She's been reading Nathan Rich's book, and it's an amazing book. Really harsh story. And he was in the two of the ranches, one for 8 months and one for 3 years. And they finally, you know, it's supposed to be to reform children and all of this at the parents' expense of like 30 grand a year or whatever. And his graduation, you know, it was classed as a graduation, but it was him basically. He had to be able to graduate. He developed a drug addiction. You know, he'd been through some horrendous stuff, and they were just like, you know, he'd been there for so long that it wasn't good PR. They had to let him go for good PR, and he had to make up a whole fake experience and how he'd been, you know, the ranch was amazing and all of that, and then stand there for this graduation. You know, it was being released from being abused for years as a child. It's just disgusting. Yeah. So after I graduated, the Board of Review granted me a full pardon, said I should never have been assigned to the RPF, and restored my back pay. Oh wow, that's generous, you know. And my rank of Commander Right Arm. I was glad to get the pardon, but the assignment had broken my will. I was in pain most of the time. Auditing no longer worked on me. It hadn't for some years. I was almost unable to work. When I began getting panic attacks, I knew I had to leave while I knew I had to leave. I walked out of the Fort Harrison Hotel in Clearwater, March 1982. I had no one to go to. I had no family in the United States, having been born and raised overseas, and not one Scientology friend, as I was declared suppressive. I had no money. I didn't drive, and I did not dare go to the authorities, as I believed they were the enemy. You can see how Hubbard covered every kind of exit, you know, on purposely to keep people in. It's disgusting. Many people who leave Scientology end up in this kind of no man's land without family or friends, cut off from all avenues of help. And this is why we need to be welcoming and not scary, to let them know that we're not all evil and we want to help, you know. That's how I try and approach things. But it's so hard. And I can imagine survivors, the people who have been in Scientology, how hard that would be, you know. you know, to be calm and kind and, well, not I mean kind, sorry, wrong word, calm and welcoming when you know, obviously for people like, you know, Lara and other survivors, being outside those buildings even must be hard, you know, to have gone through all of that and not be angry, you know, and emotional, like, but I think that's important as well. All ways of protesting are important, you know. Yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Amazing woman. Where did I get up to? So cut off from all avenues of help. My husband and I have often been asked why people join Scientology and why they do not leave more quickly. These are good questions. There's no quick answer. I knew L. Ron Hubbard. I worked for him. I saw him do terrible things, and I saw him make us do similarly dreadful acts. Early on, I had no difficulty rationalizing his actions. Few of us did. We believed Hubbard was who he claimed to be, a returned leader, a savior. We believed his claim that we had one chance to save the human race, that the time was now, that we dare not waste it, and that it was up to us and us alone. We had no idea what that entailed, or that we were being used by Hubbard to further his own selfish ends. These beliefs are an integral part of Scientology culture. The abusive behavior, the apparent control, the punishments, the cruelty, the manipulation, as well as the extreme and genuine camaraderie members have for one another. The intense pleasure of working towards goals believed to be worthwhile, and the deep gratification of seeing a percentage of Scientologists improve with auditing and training and live better lives. These are all contained in the culture, the extreme bad and the extreme good. And it is all passed on generation to generation within Scientology. People ask my husband and myself, why do people join Scientology in the Sea organization? The answer is simple. People who are searching for answers, they think they find them in Scientology. Most are intelligent, educated, sincere, and altruistic. They think they found their true home, true friends, safety, security, and a worthwhile goal in life. They know nothing of Hubbard's early years, his sex fantasies and practices in Pasadena, California, his numerous affirmations, one of which is, all men shall be my slaves, or that when he went to the Veterans Administration to increase his disability benefits, he affirmed repeatedly, when I go in for the exam, the doctors will find me very ill. After I leave, I will have my full health again. They know nothing of Hubbard's financial irregularities, and that as far back as the early 50s, after his many Dianetic conferences, tens of thousands were regularly unaccounted for. Both Hubbard and Miscavige have gone to extraordinary lengths to hide the documentation of these truths and multitudes of others in underground vaults in several American states, all reportedly sealed with 1,000-year-old doors. Hubbard did not want the truth known. Neither does Miscavige. And that's why I'm doing this, because there's so many people and the free zoners and all of that truly believe that Hubbard was a humanitarian, and he wasn't, in my opinion, allegedly. No, he wasn't, clearly, from this, New recruits, unaware of all this, fall in love with the group's ideals and lose touch with their normal reality checks and the critical thinking processes with which they grew up. And the children that are born in don't grow up with those critical thinking processes. They're stripped of them and their boundaries. And, so for people that have been born in to leave, I just think it's incredible. It just shows that, I guess, human feelings can prevail, and the truth, exists within. And I don't know. Oh, hey, Haggis. How you going? Lovely to see you, mate. You caught alive. Yay. I'm trying to do more lives and do them around this time of day on my mornings off. I work every day except the weekends. So maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays I might be able to do this, possibly Mondays. Yeah, work permitting, because work can be sporadic. Where did we get up to? Lose touch. Critical thinking processes with which they grow up. grew up. From that point on, they are as malleable in the hands of their controllers as people whose independent will has been taken from them. Yeah. My friends and colleagues present at this meeting in Hamburg have all experienced the same. For many years, we had no idea that we were being controlled by others for their own benefit and not ours. Another question is why members stay so long through so much abuse. Because they believe Hubbard had the only techniques to remove their fears and concerns forever, to restore their full potential and return them to their original godlike state. They believe that only Hubbard knew that it would take going through hell and high water to reach his goal. This conditioning prepares one to suffer the worst depravities and abuses without question. This is the guts of the Scientology culture and what makes it all stick so hard. Why do some people leave on their own? For many reasons. Something happens and they snap out of the trance state, or they get ill, or a loved one outside Scientology says something that shows he or she cares. It's different for everyone. These are the lucky ones. Whew, so there you go. Sorry, guys, that was pretty heavy. Yeah, but it needs to be talked about, absolutely. And yeah, it's different for everyone. So I mean, I always ask lots of different people, what do you think would be an effective thing to say at a protest? And I guess you just got to try them all, you know. I mean, I've met one of the Scientologists at the org here in Perth, and you know, she's only like, I don't think 32 or something, and she joined because of Narconon. She was a drug addict, and she went to Narconon in Sydney, I believe, and then ended up doing the Purif like in New Zealand, and then ended up in the church in Perth, obviously probably because they couldn't get any staff because there's no one here. I think they've only got like 11 or 12 members of staff here. I think 12 is the minimum they can have an ideal org. I'm not entirely sure. Seems to be, because there seems to be 12 members in the Perth one and 12 in the Melbourne org, because when we went to Melbourne last time, we stayed behind when it closed and counted how many staff members came. It was like 12 staff members and then 2 public. But yeah, I feel like we need to, I don't know, collab on an article or something, or, you know, there's loads of stuff in Australia that I need to get covered. And I think I put too much pressure on myself to make it look good and do all the aesthetics, when really I can just do this and sit here and read stuff. I think that's, you know, it's just getting it out there instead of sitting on it and trying to make it look good. And that's a stupid confidence thing. So I need to get over that. Yeah, I think, what else did I have? I had a few bits and bobs. And the whole stolen valor thing, like, just really pisses me off as well, you know? But I'm just going to show some pictures. I mean, look at this prick, right? Has he ever sailed a boat? Has he ever fought in a war? I don't think so. Like, pull your head in, mate. What are you doing? Absolute. But look, what a dickhead. What an absolute dickhead. This is some of the Sea Org accommodations. So you've got like your own locker and the triple bunks there. Imagine being on that top bunk. Like, a triple bunks. I didn't know they existed until I started looking into Scientology. It's insane. Let's see. And then these are some of the children, you know, that stupid picture of LRH behind them. And it's everywhere. And in the book, in Nathan Rich's book, you know, after he got out of the ranch and everything, and he went back to live with his mum, I'm pretty sure there was a picture of him in the toilet, or maybe in his room. No, they put it in his room, but it's just everywhere, just there, looking at you, watching you, keeping that paranoia going. It's insane. And then, you know, what are you doing with those swords, guys? Are you fighting people with them? Like, seriously, what are you doing? You're not in the Navy. You're not. Just drives me mad. And then this is a little a snippet of what the accommodation for the Sea Org looked like. And this is from the 90s, and I believe they got rid of this hotel, but they still have another one there at the moment. This is in Copenhagen. So you can see, look at the state of the mold, and you can see the uniforms hung up there and everything. Yeah, it's gross. I think they at one point they renovated them, but I'm not sure what happened. So, but I am actually going on Miriam's channel, Scientology Up North, on Saturday. So that's going to be really cool. We can talk about the hotel. We're going to talk about the protest that she just did at the weekend, which I think was much needed, show the community together, you know, and effective and peaceful. Yeah. And how Scientology tried to sabotage it and stuff. It's just, yeah. But it was beautiful to see. And I'm hoping that we can meet up later on in the year. Hopefully we're all going to get together. So I'll tell you more about that later. Hey, Amy M. Lovely to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to go on Miriam's channel. She's amazing. She is such a lovely lady, honestly. And Dragon Bingo. I think it's going to be, so it's going to be 4 p.m. my time, which I have no idea what time that is where you are. Sorry. So now at the moment it's nearly 10:30 in the morning where I am. Do I have any more pictures? And just to sort of show that, you know, that they've got the kids and everything. Although they say they've got rid of the cadet org, they still put kids to work. And I found this picture. This is from last year in Sydney. And it's only a kid hanging out leaflets, but it just makes you think, you know, what else have they got them doing behind closed doors? What are they being subjected to? You know, is this little one being audited or doing the communications course? I sincerely hope not. They even have, like, you know, the badges and stuff. These are the Sea Organization, you know, I mean, Admiral, Commodore, Loyal Officer, Captain, Commander, Lieutenant. Like, seriously, guys, come on. This is the billion-year contract, signing for 1 billion years. And the Sea Org code. I might read through this one. I can't see it, though. It's too small. I promise to help get ethics in on the planet and the universe, which is the basic purpose of the Sea Org. I'm going to actually, so the interview that I might put up later, I might do it in a couple of hours, actually. He talks about the policies of the Sea Org, but there are actually some hidden policies that not many people knew about, only the executives. And this guy worked with Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder, and he has inside information about that. It's an incredible interview. Yeah, I might just do that. I might have like an hour. I'll go and have some lunch and then come back and do that. Yeah, because I think that needs to be heard as well. I don't know St. Pat history, really. I know it's celebrating the Saint of Ireland. I don't know, sorry. It's been a while since I lived over that way. Yeah. What's going on here? What are you planning? Oh, thank you, Christina. Oh, you're talking about you're going to go and protest, yeah? I think I'm following your channel. Haggis, if you're a mod, aren't you? Yeah, drop whatever channels, drop yours and Christina's channels in there if you like. That'd be awesome. Sorry, I haven't been on YouTube. I was just on Streamyard. I'll have a look. Oh, hey, Fat Grammy, how you going? Lots of love to you, Mona. I missed you last night. I was sat up waiting to see if you were coming on, and you didn't. I was like, oh. Yeah, drop all the links, drop all the channels. Let's see if I can do it as well. Go to channel. Hang on a minute. So we've got a filler as well. A filler or a filler. I never know how to say it. Oh, good for you taking the morning off, and quite rightly so. You do so much. Here's a filler's channel. Style Audit. How you going? I'm just about to head off. Let's get all these people. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the people that I'm dropping in the chat, please make sure you show your support if you want to support the anti-abuses of Scientology movement. They all do very important work. exposing the abuses and protesting, you know, and just getting the word out there, awareness, offering support. Very, very important. You know, we don't want Scientology to think that we're not still watching them. You know, we had the huge anonymous movement years ago. That was about 16 years ago now, and we're still going. We're still here. We're still watching you. And apparently they're watching me. I've been told that I've got I was going to keep talking about it, you know. I'm not going to be intimidated by OSA. No way. There's nothing you can take from me anyway. And yes, fsciento.space is a great website for resources to see when any of the streamers are live, activist information, brilliant site. In fact, I'm going to get that up now and drop the link. So just www.fsciento.space. I'm presuming that's correct. Oh, and I didn't put my I didn't do the thing in my description, did I? So I won't be on the live. Oh well. Does that work? Yes, there we go. I will share it as well on the screen. Hang on. Dum, 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 dum. Yeah, embarrass yourself. Don't be silly. Hey, listen, I'm always crying and stuff on my streams and carrying on, so don't worry about it. Like, just, you know. No, don't be embarrassed. I haven't noticed anything. You haven't said anything. I don't know what you want about. Anyway, I'll have a look. But this is F Space. We have, there's free flyers. There's I Spy, which if there's anyone in Australia watching, please, if you see anyone, any action in the city centre, or you see, you know, them out with a Dianetics thing, please email me at perthaudit@gmail.com to let me know if they're there, and I will head on down there if I can. Yeah, look, see, it says no channels live, and that's because I haven't put it in the description, and I can't change the description. Yeah, I know, Amy. Yeah, I forgot. I've got it. It's supposed to be automatic in in YouTube. It's supposed to automatically be in the description, but I think that probably only work if I'm going live through YouTube, so it's a bit annoying. But I need to remember to do it when I'm writing out my description. Absolutely. I mean, I could put it in now, but then there's not really much point if I'm going to bugger off. Yeah, so you've got updates and info, and how to, if you are a Scientology protester, if you want to add your site to it, you can email Fluffer Squirrel. This is a list of all of the people. Oh, I don't think I've got that one actually, so I'm going to go through and make sure. Well, I must have that one. Yeah, so you could just go through and sub them all up. That would be amazing. There's some great channels on here. Absolutely awesome. Look at them all. I think there's around 200 channels. But yeah, there's a heap of them from all around the world. You've got the UK, you've got Canada, you've got Austria, you've got various different states in the US, Portland, LA, Clearwater, Kansas City, Pasadena, Austin, Detroit, Vancouver, loads and loads, New York. Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. And then we've got the survivors channels and active auditors who've been active within the last week, traveling auditors, so they're people that go to different locations. I should be on there because sometimes I go to the UK and I go to Melbourne and Perth. And yeah, then by country. So you've got the USA ones, Canada, Europe. We've got in London, England. Yeah, Edinburgh, Scotland. I think they're an old channel. They're not on very often, but yeah, I'm hoping to get up to Edinburgh later on this year. It's brilliant. Australia. Who've got in Australia? Let's see. Reese connected. We need to get Electric Boogaloo on there, and Miriam Francis should be on there, and who else? D5 should be on there, because they come out and protest regularly with me. And they got me. Scientology Watcher hasn't been on for ages. She hasn't been on for about a year, actually. And Sydney and Villa. Drop Bear should be on there as well, I reckon. But yeah, anyway, I am blabbering. What's going on here? Babbing. I did actually subscribe to the channel, Rudy, but I haven't had a chance to check it out yet because I spend most of my spare time doing this, you know. Yes, I have to keep remembering to put that hashtag in. I wonder if I can do a automatic description on StreamYard. I think you can. I'll have to figure that out. Oh, thanks for putting Christina's there. Sorry, I got distracted. I was putting all the channel names out and then I forgot. Yeah, get on there. Absolutely. I think the more the better, you know. Thanks, mamas. Awesome. Oh, okay, she's in the survivors. Yeah, but she goes out and protests as well, you know. She comes and protests. She should be in the protesty one as well. But yeah, I have to get into the habit of putting that hashtag, you know. Absolutely. Okay, I think that's all I've got to show today. Well, not today, but for now. But I will come on again soon, I think. Might just try and smash out as many lives as I can while I've got the time today. So, but if I don't come on again today, I will be on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Australian time with the beautiful Miriam from Scientology Up North. Oh, Drop Bear. Mr. Mad, you are too late. I'm going. What do you like? What have you been doing? No, it's all good, mate. All good in the hood. But I'm going to bugger off and do some housework and try and mow the lawn. My bloody lawnmower, the pool starts come out of it, so I need to try and figure out how to fix that. I presume taking the top off and winding it up again. I don't know. Is it me? What do you mean? Is it you? Is somebody impersonating you? What's going on, you know? All right. Oh, Haggis, you should have got out of bed for me. It was a lot and it was horrific. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I did do trigger warning, but yeah. Have a lovely sleep, Haggis. Year 61. That was 20 years before I was born, mate. No, you're not an asshole. I'm only playing with you, mate. You're not an asshole. You're lovely. You wouldn't be here if you weren't lovely. You wouldn't be my mod. All right. Yeah, no worries, mate. Thank you. Tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. All right, catch you later, Barbie. Yes, they're going to try and mow my lawn. Yeah, yep. It's 10:40 a.m. here. Did I mention 67? I know you see numbers everywhere. I didn't. Did I say 67? Wow. Oh. All right. I'm going to head off. I've got a song for my outro. Thanks again for the gifted memberships, GM Flower, and thank you for the super chat, mamas. Amazing. It all goes straight back into the channel to pay for the. Oh, I'm doing it again. To pay for the bloody subscriptions and all sorts of stuff. 59 hours. What, in minutes? I don't know, man. My brain is not equipped to do that. I would have to use a calculator. Oh, come on down, mate. I'd love you to mow my lawn. Give my bush a trim and all that. Definitely got some rose bushes that need trimming. Anyway, I'm going to press end stream and see if it does the outro automatically like it's supposed to. Enjoy the song. It's my latest one. Oh gosh, what's it called? It's the one I put up last night and I can't even remember the name. Stupid memory. As One or something. What did I? Oh my God, how can I not even remember my own song? I made a little song and it's got a music video with it. I've forgotten what it's called. One Voice. Let me see. Have I got it right? Stand as One. That's it. Okay, so that's going to be the outro. All right. Yeah, I'm not. I can't be asked. I used to be. I've lost motivation to do anything except this, you know, which is just insane. But yeah. All right, guys. I'll catch you next time. Might catch you later on today. Why? Really likes numbers. Drop there. All right, I'm going. All right, bye guys. See you later. Lots of love. Take care. Look after each other. Bye.
We stand together, we stand as one.